Greetings, adventurers! This is Lorne, your guild advisor, and welcome to my DanMemo unit analysis for this week's DanMaji Season 2 Gacha characters. Yes, I do mean characters, as we're getting 2 additions this time. Previously from Apollo Familia, Cassandra and Daphne. You have a chance to get one or even both of these lovely ladies from the One Free Time 11 Draw anime banner, and after that, they have their own separate banners akin to their previous ones. A 1st, 4th, and 10th multi-draw guarantee banner, and then the paid banner you can buy up to 3 times. But are they worth the iris? Let's start the breakdown. Cynic Cassandra Ilion is a balanced type unit with a very high amount of magic, despite not being a magic attacker. Her defense is also above the norm, being 680 max limit break and ascension. Her special arts is Soul Light, giving your allies an ultra HP heal, and also 2 magic attack nullifications, excluding special arts. As I always say, you're usually better off using the special arts of an attacking unit for wargames, but Cassandra's special arts could come in handy during Riveria's Record Buster and any other difficult magic-based encounters due to the heal happening in the beginning of the turn and the magic nullifications. Her first combat skill is Ice Touch, an AoE high water magic attack with an ultra uncounter rate and decreases enemy counter rate by 45% for 3 turns. This is pretty much your go-to move if you don't need to use the latter 2. It'll do a decent amount of damage since Cassandra has a respectable amount of magic, and her enemies are unlikely to counter this attack due to having a high uncounter rate while also lowering your enemy's counter rate in general. Her second skill is Cure Ephialtes, which removes curses, cures ailments, and applies a heal and counter rate buff of 30% to all allies for 5 turns. This skill packs in quite a few effects and will find the most usability in boss fights featuring curses and ailments. Curses are negative status effects we rarely see, but they can seriously lower your party's effectiveness when your critical attacks or guards are cursed away. The cure ailment part of this skill will be useful if your enemy packs a lot of different ailment inflicting moves, but that's very rare from what we've seen in past boss fights, and most of the time, we can use Glorious Anklets for specific ailments or even assist units. There are some people who use ailment teams in wargames, but that's a very small amount of people, and it doesn't make sense to design your team to counter such a small set. The heal and counter rate buff can be useful, especially if you have units that deal extra damage when they counter, like Argonaut, or have units with special counter effects, like the recent Kinoichi Mikoto. Her last skill, Reverie Droplet, is a slow 40% HP heal to all allies, and has a 40% chance to sleep your enemies. The slow component of this move makes it go last in a turn order, and that can be a good or bad thing for healing, but it's very advantageous for the sleep parts of the skill. A heal that is guaranteed to happen on the end of the turn is very useful in Record Buster, as you want to have as much health as possible before the boss's special attacks to happen immediately after the ends of turns 4, 8, and 12. Also, the fact that this heal is based off percentage means you'll heal for the same amount no matter how high or low Cassandra's magic skill is. Since this is a slow move, the sleep will hit your enemies last, which is what you want, because if your move hits your enemies at the end of the turn in wargames, they won't be able to select the move the next turn, and thus you gain a tremendous advantage against your opponent. Though remember, it is a 40% chance, so you'll be trying your luck. However, it is a 40% chance for each individual enemy, so you could sleep 0, 1, 2, 3, or even all your opponents if you're lucky. I don't like relying on skills like this myself, but it could be fun to use on an ailment team with units like New Year's Chigusa and New Year's Gareth. For her passives, Cassandra has a special counter skill called 5 Dimension Troya, which changes her counterattacks into 1 instance of magic attack nullification for herself. It'll help keep her alive in magic heavy fights. She also takes an additional 30% less damage when she guards and resists fire by 35%. Also notable is her 4% HP and MP regen. 4% may not seem like much, but in a dragged out fight like Record Buster, which lasts 15 turns, that's 60% of your maximum MP you're getting back to use on skills. Overall, it definitely looks like Cassandra is more suited towards boss fights, specifically magic-based fights, and she also has very good coverage for any curses or ailments that might pop up. Though it could be fun to experiment with her in an ailment team in wargames. Moving on to our second unit, Serene Swordsman Daphne. She is also a balanced type unit, but Daphne focuses on the strength side of the spectrum. However, her strength, even a maximum break and max ascension, only compares to a physical attacker without ascensions with a strength of 1426. However, her max agility of 1169 makes her one of the fastest characters in the game. Her special arts is Shrapnel Light's Tact, an AoE ultra light physical attack that gains an additional 40% of damage for each agility buff applied to her, meaning a maximum 80% increase if there is an active adventure and assist skill. This special arts also has an ultra unguard rate. If you need a strong AoE light attack and are able to get both buffs, consider using Daphne's special arts. Otherwise, a physical attacking unit like Argonaut is probably a better option for neutral damage, since he has a double buff skill and a much higher strength than Daphne. Her first combat skill is Touche, a single target, high light physical attack that increases the single target and AoE resistance of your allies by 20% for 2 turns. Her second combat skill is Fente, an AoE high light physical attack that also increases the single target and AoE resistance of your allies by 20% for 2 turns. Both these skills have very similar effects. You simply use the skill which fits your situation. Touche for single target encounters and Fente for multi-target. Her skills aren't as effective as Galmus, who has a similar skill without the damaging component, but he also decreases damage by 15% more and for a turn longer. Though, like I said, she will be doing damage, so she'll be a useful character for modes like Familia Rush and Record Buster. For units who can reduce damage and inflict damage at the same time is valuable. Her third skill is Ramure, a 30% strength, endurance, and agility buff to all allies for 4 turns. This is a pretty powerful multi-buff, as it will increase your party's damage, defense, and speed all at once. The strength buff may overlap with units like Argo and Yuri, but they're still getting 2 very valuable buffs in agility and endurance. Plus, that endurance combined with Daphne's damage reduction on her first and second skills reduces your damage intake dramatically. After Daphne gets her agility buff going, your units are bound to go first in modes like war games where turn order is very important. Her knowable passives are an additional 30% damage reduction upon guards, 35% dark resistance, and an 8% HP regen. Daphne will work well on physical teams due to her strength buff and will be valuable in boss encounters like Record Buster if you find yourself taking too much damage. In war games, she should work particularly well with Toka from the Data Live collaboration event due to her light typing. Toka, benefiting from the strength buff, and Daphne, benefiting from the light resistance debuff on Toka's Spirit Extinction Blow. I'd recommend Roaring Gale Ryu as well for a light team due to her debuffs, but since she can't be hero ascended, Krozo is probably the better option as he'll have more impressive stats. Naturally, Daphne will work with other physical attackers as they'll benefit from her buffs as well. With their additions into the game, both Daphne and Cassandra also have complementary character weapons now craftable in the blacksmith menu, so definitely make sure you equip them properly. Even if neither of these two interest you, you should at least do the first roll on each banner if you didn't get them from the free draw, as you'll get the Iris costs refunded just by doing the CP levels. I'm glad to see these two lovely ladies added into the game and can't wait to see what DanMemo can do for all these recently added characters when it comes to original in-game event stories. And we're still not done getting new characters, as we have 7 more episodes of DanMachi Season 2 to go. If you found this video informative and would like to see more DanMachi content, please subscribe to my channel and follow me on Twitter and join my Discord for updates. As always, continue enjoying your time adventuring in Terraria and the dungeon. This is Lorne, your guild advisor, signing out.